What up, gamers? We are back, and this time we got a very fast, quick-paced game because I was very, very busy this weekend and had in-laws in town and was super, super busy and was sitting down doing some of the editing and got a chunk of the way in, about 18 minutes or so into my editing of the Storm deck, to realize, oh yeah, Storm used to run Underworld Breach, and they just wished for it from their sideboard and tried to play it after we got 18 minutes into the video editing. So I had to scrap that, and now I'm in the, okay, what is the fastest paced game that I got? And we went with Merfolk versus Yawgmoth. So it's very fast paced for this one. That means we get to have a longer one on Thursday. So anybody that's with us, joining us, of course, I'm NanMans, and bringing you guys all of our modern coverage that we do every Monday and Thursday. And we sadly missed the trigger off the Aether Vial there. So we've got Merfolk versus Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth we featured on the channel quite a bit, and we will be featuring it even more so coming up as well. So keep your eyes out for more Yawgmoth action for all of you Golgari fans out there. But we've got a tribal kindred creature-based deck known as Merfolk that used to be a little bit more of a thing, has popped back up every so often in the kind of meta, especially with new tools that have been become more readily available for players. Things like, Sink into Stupor, Force of Negation, Flare of Denial, giving us a little bit more staying power to kind of stick around against some of the more powerful decks. Of course, we've also seen things like the Hexcatcher coming into play and helping us out. But we do have a combat here. Not going to do any blocking here. We do get a little bit of sacrifice shenanigans to start to shrink and deal some damage. That's the thing about the, some of the newer Merfolks not being 2/2s. It does make it a little bit easier to get eaten up and destroyed off of the -1 counters that, of course, Yawgmoth does throw around. But we do get the flip of our Liliana, Defiant Necromancer, now the Planeswalker side from the creature side. I like the one of bringing this in here, allowing her to kind of set things up. Now, we've talked about it before. Our Yawgmoth player at the shop, she has been playing the deck, knows all the different variations, and have tried every different variation. So she's kind of put in more reps than anybody I know on Yawgmoth. So, I like the kind of one of fun ofs. I say fun ofs, but a lot of them are really powerful and really cool, especially at the LGS side of things here. So this is one of the Defiant, at least the heretical healer, wherever it is, as the kind of one of fun of in this version of the Yawgmoth. Now, it is pretty straightforward. You're going to try to combo off using some Undying triggers and draining and gaining and doing that sort of mentality here. Now, the 2 mana available, we've got Aether Vial on 2. Aether Vial on 2 is kind of the sweet spot that you're hoping to be at as a Merfolk player. So we do see a Wall of Roots, which kind of opens us up. You see a Wall of Roots, you kind of know, okay, we're going to be going for a heavier chord-based style of play. Now we get a little bit of a responding. We've got some flash effects. Merfolk Trickster really, really solid because it does cause Yawgmoth to lose all abilities. Now it is a trigger when it enters, so we do have a window of opportunity to respond, which looks like we'll float some mana off a Delighted Halfling, and we'll start to try to sack it and kill off at least the Tidebinder here. But that will allow us to use our Aether Vial to bring out the Master of the Pearl Tridents to help give everybody +1/+1. And Island Walk, no islands currently on the field. Back in the day, players would run things like Spreading Seas and enchantments to do that. Nowadays, we have a Merfolk known as Harbinger of the Seas that does great about kind of turning everything into islands. So, of course, we do have kind of ways to interact and set ourselves up here. Liliana going to allow us to get the Halfling back from the graveyard to the battlefield. That's kind of one of the reasons why that our Yawgmoth player, she's decided to test it out, because you can bring back a Yawgmoth, you can bring back the Light Halfling, you get just more fuel to throw into the Yawgmoth engine here. And there's a Gris coming out here. This will allow us to shoot and kill off some annoying pesky creatures. Of course, sacrifice this. Again, this Delighted Halfling has been going through it this game. And we'll pop our, of course, Lord, Master of the Pearl Tridents there, which allows us to essentially kill 2 creatures there. So, what do we got here? Eighth of I'll say, again, 2 is where we want it to be at. Now, there is some pretty cool creatures available to us. I like the idea of dropping down that 3-drop here because of the ward ability. Of course, we've got more, Lord type effects there. So I guess the idea of going wide is pretty good. If we can get enough go wide effects, then we could push through the wall of roots. Otherwise, we just bounce off. So it looks like we're going to go for that. Vladolin Hex Catcher, we do get a response. Let's eat the first one there. So that is, of course, giving other merfolks +1/+1. So going for that route, I don't know. I like the idea of going wide, but the fact that we are more protected with our Sylvok Outcast. I think that's what it is, Sylvok Outcast. I don't know. The Ward 1 does have a lot more kind of staying power against the Yawgmoth Sacrifice because they're not going to be able to kind of start putting counters on it. Yeah, Sylvian of the Sea and Sky. That's the one we want. So enters, doesn't really do too much other than giving other merfolks plus that Ward 1. And it's a 3/4, so it's hard to kind of kill and get rid of. Now, does that make much of a difference here in this moment? Let's see. Got our land for turn is a Dryad Arbor. I like the sweet white border choice there. Geralt's Messenger, the left-handed version of it. So again, some spicy little cool art. So that will do a drain effect of, well, not really gain, but just draining our opponent for 2. But we have the Chord of Calling to search up for 1, helping our, of course, Wall of Roots, pulling double duty of both convoking and generating green mana. And there's the Young Wolf, and we can be able to do some sacrificing. The Geralt's Messenger, do some -1 counters, sacrificing Young Wolf, put a -1 counter, and back and forth until, yes, we will lose a life, but you're always losing 2, so this gives us kind of that edge out that we get there. So, yeah, if you guys are following us along and you aren't yet subscribed, consider subscribing because, again, we do have gameplay every Monday and Thursday for you to enjoy. Let's see game number 2 here, how things go. Will it be a quick aggro game, and then we get it into a quick game 3 that goes even faster? We'll see. Very powerful set of cards. Let's go Aether Vial. That's always a nice little keeper right there when you've got a Vial. All right, Fetch, Shock, Gravecrawler of the choice. So this is the version that does run our Warren Soul Trader combo as well. So as soon as you see a Gravecrawler start showing up in a Yawgmoth list, you go, oh, okay, you're doing the hybrid version of it. Now, I know there are some players that are really trying to position and trying to separate out the different types of Yawgmoth lists, right? Like the Samwise combo versus pure Yawgmoth versus a Soul Trader combo. Like there's some overlaps between all 3 decks. I would say the Samwise is such a uniqueness to and different from the others that it should be listed as its own thing compared to like the Yawgmoth list or the Soul Trader Yawgmoth list. But we'll see. So, 1 lander. We get a Mistcaller, which is an amazing creature if your opponent is going for the Undying stuff. So until the end of turn, if a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile instead. So that is MVP number 1. We're happy to see that coming out as a sideboard card against a Yawgmoth player. Now, the only downside is with a Gravecaller and a Blood Artist out right now, there is basically one set of lines that we need to be careful of, and that is kind of the Warren Soul Trader coming out here. And there is one in hand. A lot of really cool tools, though, available, right? In case there was a way to stop it. Flare of Denial, if you're not running it in your Merfolk list, you should be running it. Oh, look there. So Harbinger of the Seas in here. We've got some good tools available to us, but let's get some fetching going. We basically are just trying to lock things up here. Ah, man, the Mistcaller is... I really like that tech. Like, there's some new Merfolks. Like, I haven't played Merfolks in so long that I keep seeing it and go, maybe I'll put my list together again. I'm you know me. I'm so all in on blue right now, and especially the control side of things. So seeing an aggro blue deck, I'm like, well, maybe that's where I need to go. Like, I've got the tempo blue decks with just like Is It Twin and Dimir Murktide. I need to pick up my Kaidos for it. I like the original. I don't, I never went for the Oculuses, but the Kaido ninjutsu style seems great. I think I might pick up some of those, just like 2 of, and finish updating my Dimir Murktide list. Maybe we'll run that in a couple weeks here. But yeah, so look, Mistcaller would be awesome. We said, can I sacrifice this? Will this stop this? It says no, because I'm still using my treasure to sacrifice the Gravecrawler. I would pay 1 life to do this, but Blood Artist, of course, negates that 1 life, and so I'm just draining you infinitely here and just go back and forth. So Mistcaller, amazing against the Undying, but because this Yawgmoth list was a hybrid between the Soul Trader combo and Yawgmoth, we see just the combo just get assembled on turn 3, just kind of, it's there. What can you do about it? Sometimes that's kind of how it goes. We see some pretty cool sideboard tech available here, but wanted to showcase a little bit of this. Yeah, so speed game for this week, at least for Monday. That's how it is sometimes. We've got more exciting action coming up later this week, so if you guys are interested, make sure you check back on Thursday for some more gameplay and commentary action. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next game.